In episode 9 of Bon Appetit, Your Majesty, we see Lee Hyun announced the results of the second round. Although the match was declared a tie, Ji Young's dish was met with thunderous praise. Even Yukon and Lee Hyun, both usually restrained, acknowledged it as the greatest taste under heaven. For Lee Hyun, this outcome carried deeper meaning. He had already discovered that Yukon deliberately gave Ji Young an unfairly low score in an earlier round. Now, faced with undeniable brilliance, Yukon had no choice but to bow his head and admit defeat. Ji Young had crafted a dish that even the finest Ming chefs would not dare attempt. Joseon had secured its honor, yet Ji Young's thoughts drifted to cook Meng. She quietly resolved to ask Lee Hyun or Song Jae for protection for Meng's mother, a repayment for the risks he had taken to help them reach this point. But the true test still lay ahead. Tomorrow's final round would decide not only the victor, but the balance of pride between Ming and Joseon. That night, Lee Hyun summoned Ji Young. He examined her hand with a rare gentleness, frowning at the deepening wounds. "It was my mistake," Lee Hyun confessed. "I should never have risked our nation's fate on a mere cooking contest." The confession startled her. The man known as a tyrant stood before her now, burdened with regret. Ji Young shook her head. "Your Majesty has nothing to apologize for. We have already proven what we came to prove. Even if tomorrow brings defeat, what matters is that we fight until the end. Only then can we accept the result." For the first time, Lee Hyun seemed at a loss for words. When morning arrived, Ji Young and her team faced Tang Beilong's group. Both sides exchanged solemn bows, determined to give their utmost effort. Song Yi revealed the theme of the final round, a soup made with ginseng. Ji Young worked swiftly, stuffing a chicken with herbs and roots before setting it in the pressure cooker. But the lid was missing. Cook Aum fretted, yet Ji Young calmly recalled a recipe she had once read in Mahangun Rock, a backup plan if all else failed. Just as she prepared to improvise, the doors burst open. Chun Sang rushed in with a missing lid, escorted by Gong Gil, proof that Lee Hyun had arranged the delivery himself. With the cooker sealed, the chicken simmered under high pressure. Ji Young transferred the broth into a stone pot, stirred in a fine powder of pine nuts and perilla seeds, then let it simmer until the fragrance filled the hall. For the final flourish, she shaved truffle into paper-thin slices, scattering them across the soup surface. Her creation, ginseng chicken soup with black bone chicken, truffle, and red ginseng, transfigured by pressure into potent black ginseng. Tang Beilong, in contrast, presented the famed Buddha jumps over the wall, prepared with shark fin, bird's nest, Chinese ham, and ginseng, each ingredient steamed separately to preserve its purity. The judges tasted Beilong's dish first. Yihang trembled as he lifted the spoon, overwhelmed by its refined harmony. Yet beneath its brilliance lay a message. Joseon's ginseng, Beilong implied, was too fine for humble kitchens and belonged only in Ming's splendor. Then came Ji Young's dish. Yukon sneered until the first taste silenced him. The broth was thick with umami, the meat dissolved without chewing, and the truffle lingered like a dream, hidden within the chicken's belly. The ginseng had undergone transformation, becoming potent black ginseng. Energy surged through Yukon's body, startling him into uncontrollable hiccups, the surest sign of victory. After the judges tasted her dish, and the hall erupted with murmurs of awe, Ji Young leaned closer to Lee Hyun. Her words were quiet, meant only for him. He listened intently, then gave the faintest of nods, his expression unreadable to the rest of the court. That simple gesture, silent agreement between the tyrant king and the woman who had just defied Ming's finest chefs, spoke volumes. Lee Hyun then announced, "This dish shall be offered as tribute to the emperor," he proclaimed. There could be no denial. The emperor would favor Ji Young's creation. Reluctantly, Yukon admitted Joseon's triumph, but humiliation festered. Yukon's lips curled as he spat out his final demand. "Then send this woman as tribute instead." The words dropped like a stone. Ji Young's chest tightened, dizziness threatening to overwhelm her. In the next instant, Lee Hyun's forehead smashed into Yukon's face, blood spilling across the hall. Blades flashed as Ming attendants and Joseon guards drew their swords. Lee Hyun's voice rang out, "If you dare take her, You brought far too few men. The challenge was clear, an open threat of war. At that moment, the great doors creaked open. The Queen Dowager, known as the Violent Consort, swept in. Her gaze cut through Yukon like ice. Under the pretense of duty, you squander your station with petty indulgences. Do you think the Emperor blind? She held up a sealed letter. Yukon blanched as he read the Emperor's words. Only then did he realize her true identity. Lady Han of Soth, whose sisters had wed 2 Ming emperors. By bloodline alone, she outranked the current emperor. Cornered and disgraced, Yukon could do nothing but retreat. After the envoys departed, the Queen Dowager turned her wrath on Li Hian. "Foolish boy," she scolded. "To risk Josian's fate for pride, have you learned nothing?" Li Hian bowed his head in silence, unable to defend himself. That night, he drowned his anger in wine with Song Yi. Meanwhile, Prince Jason and Mokju seethed. Josian had won, and Ji Young remained untouchable. Mokju's patience snapped. If Li Hian would not rid her of the girl, she would act herself. Storming into the courtyard, Mokju slapped Ji Young across the face and accused her of treachery. Before the stunned courtiers, she dragged Ji Young toward the tribunal. Li Hian arrived in time to see it. Fury ignited in his chest. Without hesitation, he stepped forward, ready to protect her with his life. The tribunal courtyard was silent save for the scrape of Mokju's grip, dragging Ji Young forward. "Seize her," Mokju commanded, her voice sharp with triumph. "This woman dares plot treachery against the throne. I will see her confess." But before the guards could obey, a shadow cut across the hall. Li Hian stepped down from the dais, his robe sweeping the floor. His voice thundered. "Enough." The air itself seemed to tremble. Guards froze, courtiers dropped to their knees. Mokju's eyes widened, though she quickly masked it with indignation. "Your Majesty, surely you do not intend to shield a traitor." Li Hian moved between her and Ji Young, his hand resting on the hilt of his sword. "I will not allow this woman to be condemned without my word. Who gave you the authority to drag her here like a common criminal?" Mokju faltered. For the first time, the king's fury was directed at her. "You," she whispered, voice trembling between disbelief and anger. "You would defy me for her." The court held its breath. Here was the moment. Would Mokju yield, or rise against the king himself? At last, she released her grip on Ji Young's arm. "I am only loyal to the throne," Mokju said coldly, bowing her head. "If your Majesty commands her freedom, then I will obey." Yet her lowered eyes burned with fire. Everyone saw it. Her obedience was only on the surface. For Ji Young, it was salvation. For Li Hian, it was the beginning of a new war, not against Ming, but within his own court.